This is the SwishWire podcast.
Welcome to the SwishWire podcast. I am joined today by Mitch, Scobie, and Justin. But the biggest guest of all, it's a name you might not be familiar with, but you should know it. He has been single-handedly raising the level of competition in the MEAC all season long. He's been throwing up 16 points, 8 boards, 3 assists, and leading his conference in steals at 2.8 and blocks at 1.9. And every single one of those stats I just reeled off, top 10 in the conference. All right, it is none other than Coppin State's 6'6" senior guard, Anthony Tarke. Anthony, man, thank you for joining us today. We are pleased to have you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me.
So, Anthony, just to start off, huge honor to be talking to you right now, man. Honestly, my first question for you is was there a point in time between any of your transitions where you knew that you were legit, that you knew that this was the shit that you were born to do, where you were like this specific moment or this specific play where you're like, I've got some motherfucker in me, I know I can compete at this level? Was there a spot where you knew you belonged?
Yeah, I mean, I think is going out, you're going against the number 9 team in the country. I think it was Duke. But once I think I got a steal and I got a dunk. It was like, let's play. I've put in so much work in the preseason trying to, remold my game back into being more guard-like at UTEP. I wasn't really playing that much guard, and I just working every day with my coaching staff. And then once I got out there, I got a dunk, and the comfort level was all cool. So it was just basketball.
That shit clicked for you immediately. That's what I'm saying. Okay, that's sick.
Sure. It figures from watching your game, if it figures that moment is on the defensive end, defense turned into something offensive.
Always, yeah. I always try to. Defense is my hard hat. That's why I put my staple on. If I'm able to get something like that going, turn it into offense. Trying to do that all year. So those plays are definitely energy plays for me and my team.
And a player like you, with the talent and skill you have as a player on both ends of the floor, you've obviously played against some elite players. So who's the best player you've ever played against?
Shoot, man. Played against a lot of dudes. You going off of like college ball or just ever in my life?
AAU life too, bro.
Whatever. Could be anyone. Mm-hmm.
Dude, okay. At this time, I mean, he's still a good NBA player. He's got hurt a little bit, but Jonathan Isaac was really, really good, man. Really, really good. Long, could shoot it, can defend. Cam Reddish too was really good when I played him. He was a little younger than I was. Really good player. Hamidou Diallo at Putnam was a beast at Putnam. Mo Bamba. Not playing against, but just watching him play against us, he gave us 40. Tremont Waters, incredible.
Oh yeah, that's my guy. As a Celtic fan, love him.
Respect to Tremont. He can really score. So those guys.
LSU.
He's got game. I've watched a good amount of your tape. I see some shades of Tony Allen in there. Who's a guy or a couple guys you try to mold your game after?
Yeah, well, I will say my favorite players, even just growing up, were Carmelo Anthony, Gilbert Arenas, and Paul Pierce. And then when I turned 10, I just fell in love with Dwayne Wade. The way he just gets to the rim. He's athletic. He likes to block shots at the guard spot. And just his quickness mixed with strength and skill like that. I've always tried to, be something like that with my game, and obviously trying to, create my own self within it, because I didn't start playing ball officially till I was 13. So you just kind of watch and then figure it out after.
That's sick that Agent Zero Gilbert's there, because I was gonna say this is no knock on him, but you look like you got a little faster pull up in it. That's modeled after his. It's fresh. And Dwayne Wade on that, like you said, stronger, likes to block at the guard position. That's the shit that I see in you.
Physical, for sure. I mean, that stands out so much in your game. And honestly, it makes sense because you have been a very sought after player during your college career. You started in New Jersey at NJIT. You headed west to UTEP before finally landing at Coppin State for your final season. And, getting a chance to listen to some of the previous interviews that you did, you mentioned a big part of your choice to commit to Coppin State was your brother, was Nanda. And, I'm curious how that came about. I know you entered the transfer portal in March of last year. He committed, I think, in early May, and then you followed up about 2 weeks later. Was he already looking at Coppin State before? Did he know about it because you were interested? What kind of happened there?
Yeah, so Coppin had contacted my brother first. They had watched his stuff from prep school, and they were interested. But it's crazy because on the forefront of my mind is that for my last destination, I want to play with him because I know he was coming out and he was going to be able to be eligible for NCAA ball. So I was like, all right, well, I know not everyone's going to be able to be like, oh, let's bring these guys in together. Yeah. But I have the ultimate belief in my brother, and I think he was slept on a lot, especially how he's been playing as of late. People are really starting to see how good he is, being only a freshman. But he committed, and obviously he was just trying to get me with him. I was really locked in, once he did that. It my decision became that much more easier to head to Coppin. So.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. You guys have great chemistry on the court together. I was saying to these guys before, Coach Dixon got a huge steal in your brother. He's going to have a very nice career at Coppin State if that's where he finishes off. It's a great get for him.
Yeah, he's starting to settle into himself. At first, he was a little nervous, but now he's back in the starting lineup again, and he can only go up. The sky's the limit for that kid.
The prep year at Coastal Academy did him a lot of good. It looks like the game has matured far beyond a freshman.
Nah, for sure. Yeah, he's had such a he's never too high or too low. He has a real good pace about himself, and he can only get more comfortable, better. So, super excited for him. He's special player.
So, outside of the game now, I just want to get a little, peek into your mind there. Did you experience any sort of emotional growth or personal development when you were transferring? Because I know you went a little far from home on your initial, and I know that impacts a lot of people, but how did you sort of take that when you were able to go this far and then come this back kind of thing?
Yeah, it was tough initially, because I'd never been to Texas. I don't even think I'd ever been to the West Coast, maybe Las Vegas for an AAU tournament, but never really been to Texas in itself, yet alone El Paso. And there's no family, you're kind of just out there, and it's crazy because I didn't really understand the magnitude of being that far away from home, being that I was in New Jersey for my first 2 years, 3-4 hours away from Maryland, but going out there and being literally across the country was tough. But I learned so much about myself, mental fortitude, and just being able to attack adversity head on, because being that far away and having the struggles I did on the floor, it could really weigh on you and weigh on your game mentally more so than anything. And I just got to thank God for keeping me strong throughout that time, because it definitely made me better in who I am right now.
That's perfect. Because I was also going to ask you, do you think that helped you translate some of your stuff on the court better? You think that, mental toughness of being that far away, bringing it back, probably learned a bit from that too.
Yeah, no, 100%. The coach out there at UTEP, he's not easygoing. He's one of the harder coaches in the. So you got to be strong, when dealing with him, especially if you're not, getting the minutes that, you think you should be getting. And but I think being able to play now, you learn not to take anything for granted. You learn that a lot of people in college basketball aren't able to get minutes. Only so many guys can get so many minutes at each and every level, no matter if you're at the low level or Power 5. Minutes aren't easy to come by. There are guys who definitely have real good talent, but they're not able to get out on the floor and showcase that because of the situations that they're in. So you got to thank God for the situation I'm in now, being able to showcase everything I can do.
It's definitely a tough transition, no matter what.
Yeah.
For that. And, having that mental toughness, that makes it so much easier for not only on the court, but off the court. You
Yeah.
mentioned that Juan Dixon, he was a big part for you and Nenda in coming to Coppin State.
Yeah.
What has it been like playing for Coach Dixon? What has his career as a pro player done for your own? And is there any advice that he's given to you that has helped you?
Yeah. So, me and Coach Ron, we have a really strong relationship. It started, when he was recruiting me, the passion in his voice when he was telling me that he's like, you're an NBA player. And, you want to believe that for yourself, but for him to say that, statistically looking at my numbers from UTEP, I averaged like 3 points and 4 rebounds. And he's like, oh no, you're going to be an NBA. That type of confidence he already saw without training me or, meeting me officially, and him being an NBA player himself just gave me like confidence to be like, okay, he just brought different things out of me that I didn't really know I had, because I struggled with confidence throughout my life. And then I slowly but surely I continued to gain more and more as I played and as I rose up and played against big teams in college ball, even from when I was in New Jersey, and just showing up against them. Okay, I can play at this level, and I can play at any level. And then for him to say that as my head coach, not an assistant or not your mentor, but like as your head coach, it gives you all the confidence in the world to just go out there and play. And like I said, he played it. He played at the highest level, and he knows what it looks like. And for him to say that stuff for me, it's everything. Confidence is big, for half coach. It's at any level, if you want to have success, it's tough. Thank God.
It's nice. As an assistant coach, your job is to make sure that guys, their minds are in the right places. But your job as a head coach is to make sure that they are getting the right information to excel.
Right.
And definitely hearing that from Coach Dixon has to be a huge confidence booster for you.
100%.
And it shows. Coach Dixon put together one hell of a schedule for you guys this year.
Yeah.
You started out with Duke. You followed it up with Drexel, with Georgetown, UNC Greensboro, Va Tech. I mean, my first coaching stop at Towson, you guys gave them a run for their money this year.
Yeah.
It seems, even with collecting some of those losses, it helped you guys in conference. You're tied for second in division. You're 3-1 versus the conference leader against Norfolk State. I mean, those tough early season losses, those matchups, what did it do for your cohesion and your confidence going forward as a squad?
Yeah, it's big time. My coach mentioned this earlier prior to us playing Norfolk. We don't have the full roster that we're supposed to have at this time. Missing my boy Justin and my boy Bryce Hunt, two guys who would have helped us earlier to even snag some of those non-conference games that we fell short in. We missed out on our point guard after the third game. DeJuan Clayton, he didn't play the rest of the non-conference games, so the roster had been shaky. But just me being able to fight through and continue to play every game and have my team with me, it built up a different toughness for us, coming into the conference. We started off 5-1. We had a little skid in the middle of things there, but our guy, I have this confidence that teams don't want to play us, because we haven't hit the ceiling of our team and we're only getting better. And I feel as if other teams, we've seen their best shot. We've seen Morgan's best shot, seen Norfolk's best shot, and I don't think that they've really seen our best shot, everyone clicking at the same time. So I think it's going to hit at the right time. We're going to get the right guys back at the right time, and we're going to be a special group.
Yeah, especially you guys like you said, you're not playing at full strength. You've seen what everybody else is capable of at that point.
Yeah.
Like
right.
Once you guys get it all out on the floor, that's some scary shit put together.
Yeah. We're gonna be dynamic for sure.
And you guys were obviously really depleted, as you just said, for your roster, and you overachieved with all those injuries, considering you're not at full strength. Yeah. So something I'm wondering is, for you guys to overachieve, what does that do for the culture of your team?
Yeah, I think it's big. Coppin, as of late, hadn't been known for winning many games or just really being competitive, but you continue to put it into work and practice. Our guys come in every day and put in the work, and we do a lot of skill stuff, and by refining your skills, man, it gives you this confidence about yourself going into the game because our coach gives us so much confidence and freedom on the offensive side of the ball to just hoop. You know, he'll put us in spots to play, and then it's our job to go out there and just have fun with it. So I think like I said, I think we're peaking at the right time. We lost the game at Norfolk in game 1. We didn't come out with the energy we needed, but we followed that up with a W. And I think when we have that like defensive energy and defensive intensity, dude, we'll be playing in March, for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
it just sounds like you guys are really on the same page as a unit, and that's done wonders for you. I just want to go back to your brother for a second. In your first year playing together, obviously you and Neda are both having excellent years individually. Clearly, you play well together. What's been the greatest benefit of having him for a teammate, and what's something you want to leave him with after you graduate and move on with the next steps in your career?
Right. Yeah. First, been playing with him playing against him with him since we were like 8. Not like any. He's 3 years younger than I am, so like he was like 6 or 5, and we have like this. This chemistry, like we don't even have to really speak. You just know where to be on the floor. And the fact that he's playing now, it's like playing as well as he's playing now is like a calming feeling for me. I don't have to worry about that because I know it's like a one-track mind with him or not. His instincts are crazy. His intelligence, his IQ for the game is really high, and as his mind. And so when we're able to be out there on both sides of the ball, it's awesome. One thing I will leave him with is to continue to be himself, because a lot of people, because he's a quiet kid, so a lot of people will be like, yo, you gotta be more rah, you're playing the sport, you gotta get more energy and all that stuff. But I tell him just keep, being yourself, because when things get tough, people are gonna be able to lean on him because he's so even keeled, because he has such a calm demeanor. And me, I know how to get high and low within myself, but I know that even line, and that's something that we share. But me being a leader, I have to also make sure I have to enforce, with my team and with this ball club. So just telling him to continue to be himself, because people are going to gravitate towards that for sure. So
it's got to be, it's got to be an incredible feeling as well. Growing up together, I can imagine you two, dreamed of this moment and being able to play at this level.
Yeah, no question. It's rare to be able to play with your brother, especially play at this level. Going out there first game playing against a blue blood and playing against one of the greatest coaches ever, Coach K, and him out there, and he banged a couple threes. He's getting steals, deflections. I'm out there playing with him. It's a dream. You don't really realize it in the moment. You kind of take a look back, like, damn, we did that together. And, still memories happen.
That connectivity is a massive benefit to you guys. You can see it, like we said, from watching you just play on the court together. And you mentioned the Duke game. Nana had a great game, especially for it being his first college game. Yeah. In your season opener against Duke, the team was underdogs, to say the least. Yeah. And you still managed to get a close loss against the number 9 ranked team. You had stellar outing. It was a headline for the NCAA. Dropped 22 points, 9 boards, a couple of assists, and arguably your best moments in that game were defensive against some of the biggest names in the NCAA this year. You had 2 blocks, you had 5 steals. You look like Gary Payton out there. And what does it mean for you going up against those guys and being able to go toe-to-toe defensively with them when you come back to the conference and going up against, say, a guy like Devontae Parker from Norfolk? What does that mean for your confidence, for your, ability?
Yeah, it's just saying, like, when you put in that work, there's this like level feeling of anxiousness to go up against the competition, to see where you're at and see where you stand. For me, like, I thirst for it's like I'm obsessed with competition, because you want to see, where your skill set, where your intangibles, how far, they can go, and where you can really match at.
Match up against them.
Yeah, match up against. So going to Duke is like, there's no warm up. There's no, there's not play a Division II here or, play a low level school here. It's like, go do it. Go see where you're at. Let's compete. And once I went out there and competed, I didn't even start off great. Started off pretty slow. But again, I think my first basket that game might have been a 3. I don't know, but just getting the steal and getting the dunk. I feel like defensively, I can play anywhere at any level, and that's where that's where I'm going to make my money. On that side of the ball, I can score it for sure. But like coming into MEAC and playing against these guys, they're all aware of how I impact the game. Sometimes I may not have 30 or 20, but I know that defensively, and my presence is going to be felt. So I try to execute that every single game.
Absolutely. Coppin State hasn't had a player in the NBA since 1997 and hasn't had one drafted since the 5th round of 1975. What would it mean to you to be the next Golden Eagle to suit up in the big leagues one day?
Yeah, it'd be everything. It's been a dream of mine. I played soccer early, but I've been watching NBA basketball since I was like 4. Like, I can remember me and my brother, we used to just sit there analyzing games just because, not knowing that, we'd want to play there, but just having that, just being enamored with the game of basketball. Like words can't, express how much joy it would bring me to play at that level, and just having people around me and just this whole experience, NBA teams coming to my games and things like that. It's just like, it's real, it's here now. And it's like, you don't want to pinch yourself. You just want to keep working because all I want to do is just work better. But it's awesome being in the position that I'm in. I can only thank God.
And I want to
there's no doubt in my mind, hearing you speak here and your work ethic and your approach to the game, there's no doubt in my mind that you'll be able to succeed at the next level. And I look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. No doubt.
Just a little side question before Justin gets his in. Is there a specific, and blessings all aside, is there a specific team that you'd like to see yourself stood up for?
Question.
Like, for example, if, Toronto was to be like, hey, we'd like you on our core for it.
I mean, growing up, you had to be watching Wizards games, right?
Okay.
With Wizards, obviously, it would be a dream. It's, just watching Gilbert, play. Like, I know stuff happened with him later on in his career. 2006, Wizards were hot, dude. They were hot. Ron Butler, Antoine Jameson, Haywood. I mean, they're like that. It would be a dream, but just to play at that level, play in the NBA is everything. So I don't care. Preference, give me, Washington all day, but
I'm a Wizards fan.
Yeah.
I would.
Justin's getting Jersey right now.
given the current state of our team, I would love nothing more, because on the defensive end, we're just struggling.
I'm curious, in the realm of possibility, who's one guy you were looking forward to going against in the pros?
Yeah, me and my brother always talk about this because he's always telling me, well, because we watch basketball, we watch NBA all day, every day, and we really study, and our coaches too. We're always watching film and learning NBA things. NBA calls offensively, NBA calls defensively. So, in terms of communication, I know that I'll be ready. But my brother's always asking me, all right, if Kyrie does this, how are you going to do this? And for me, I want to, again, competition, I'm obsessed with it. So I want to go against the best. Kyrie is one for sure. Carmelo's like I don't want to say idol, but someone I look up to so much. And he's been at it for so long, just to try to see if I can block one of his quick pull. Or Kawhi, just feeling his strength. I want to see how strong he is. I want to see how I'd match up with him physically. Even James Harden, big one for sure. I want to just see if I can rip one of those cross. I just want to see where I stand. Just being obsessed with competition, I want to see where I'm at. So, those guys for sure.
I mean, we throw out comps all the time. We talk about he plays like this guy, he plays like that guy. But I mean, last year Lou Dort didn't get drafted, but I think if anyone could do it over again, they'd be taking him. Makes his money on the defensive end, but now he's showing he can score a little bit, he can shoot a little bit. I mean, from watching some of your film, I could definitely see a path to success, you know, checking people on the defensive end and dropping a couple buckets on the offensive end, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Lou Dort, yeah, my coaches definitely talk about how he was able to impact the playoffs, you know, and really make Harden work for those baskets. In the NBA, it's really hard to stop somebody, but if you can make them work mentally, it's gonna be you know, tougher for them moving on. They know when they see you, it's gonna be a battle. So that's what I want to try to do.
Absolutely.
So earlier you talked about Nenda and what you want to, you know, a piece of advice you want to give him, you know, when you graduate, you know, something you want him to stick to. And that was obviously, you know, that's a trait of leadership. And, you know, you're the senior, you know, you have some of the most experience on this team. So how much do you take pride into being a leader?
Yeah, I think ever since I was young, I wasn't the most popular kid, but I always had these qualities to stand alone. And even when standing alone, people just gravitated towards me. And I realized at a young age, like, my rest in peace, my best friend, who was my soccer coach, Tom Spottiswood, he always tell me when he met me, he's like, "You are a leader. You're a leader. You have to embrace it. And once you embrace it, when you speak, people will hear you." And even, you know, at UTEP, I was in my guys will test probably one of the best players on the team, but based on the minutes and statistics, it wouldn't seem that way. But when I spoke, those guys always heard me and they always respected me. And garnering that respect from all the teams I've been on is realize that it's what I'm called to do, whether it's basketball or just in life. Been through so many things in my life. It's like I'm not gonna say I have an answer for everything. I'm still young, but
Yeah,
I have an answer for a lot of things. I've seen so much good and bad, you know, adversity, peaks and valleys. So it's a blessing. I mean, it's a lot of responsibility, you know, and you kind of have to live. I mean, no, you have to live the right way, and because people are looking at you. You know, people are examining you, watching you. But you know, I'm built for it. I'm still working on it every day. And again, I thank God for the position He's put me in. So.
No, I love the message, man. As discussed, you know, you pride yourself, you know, on your defensive capabilities. You know, what's your defensive preparation like for upcoming opponents? And you know, what advice can you give to guys, you know, who want to have, you know, your reputation as a defender?
Yeah. So, you know, people usually say when your defense can ignite your offense, but it's, you know, definitely easier said than done. Me, like, I'm leading my team in, you know, scoring, but you have to find ways to you give it all you got on defense. And it's really hard to give it all you got on defense and still find ways to be aggressive offensively. It's takes a lot of stamina, you know, it takes a lot of conditioning for sure. But I think like for me, I watch so much basketball, so much. So when we're going up against these teams, like throughout the season, you know, sometimes we have back-to-backs or quick games. You kind of have to watch and make the adjustment. I think I'm really good at like picking up tendencies and taking and making people do what they don't want to do. And that just comes from, again, watching film and studying the game. So I think just watching film has been big for me. I guess it's funny. I wasn't always a good defender. Like back in high school, I was pretty god awful in terms of guarding on the perimeter. Like I just didn't have the feet. I was too antsy. I jumped for everything, bit for everything. But just learning how to be more solid has really helped me use my athleticism to my advantage. You know, so.
And I'm curious, how, like, for a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much film do you think you watch? 30 minutes, an hour, two?
Well, you know, we go through, like, you know, our coach brings us in for film. We studied it, you know, the team, we watched how they are in transition, here we don't really watch sets too much because of the way we have our defensive principles in place. So we make teams do what we want them to do. But for me personally, after that's all done, I watch full games. I mean, I watched their most recent game in full. If it's a matchup that I know I have to guard, I'm watching, on Synergy, I go and just watch their baskets or how they turn the ball over, which hand they like to shoot off of. So that's why I think I'm really good at blocking jump shots. It's not easy to do it, but just knowing, okay, when he does this, he's getting ready to pull up and just time it. And it's not easy. It's definitely taken a lot of repetition because I've definitely been called for 4-point plays or at closeout. But I think throughout the years, I've done more good than harm. So you take.
Yeah, as a defensive coach, I can tell you everything you just said. Any player who wants to be a good defender has to approach it the same way. I love that answer.
Sure. No, for sure.
And, it's clear, when you watch you play and when you listen to this, it's clear, you're one of the smartest defenders, in college basketball. Your awareness, your patience on that end, it's unprecedented. And all the film you watch, that just even helps on with that even more. But something that's gone under the radar is physically, you're dominating. You're a dominating presence on the court. You've put on 20 pounds since your freshman year at NJIT. What is the weight room? What has that meant for your game?
It's funny. I don't think my junior year of high school, I think was probably the first time I lifted like a weight. I was so really skinny. I don't think my junior year, I tried to like bench the bar and I was like struggling to get it up. And my football guys were laughing at me like, oh, this week. I was always like wiry, strong. I always, again, that like competitor in me to fight. I was always a tough kid, but like I wasn't physically. I have really long arms, but I wasn't really, imposing. My freshman year came in, I was like $195, maybe $197, but everyone around me were seniors and had no neck. So it was like, dude, you have to put on some pounds to, stay afloat and just to stay, stay competitive. I'm not going to even say it was intentional. I did a lot of push-ups, a lot of sit-ups in my prep school as a requirement, but it wasn't like, okay, you have to look like that guy to, be this successful. Sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, damn, I don't think I'm that, that big. And then someone's looking at me like, are you kidding? Like, dude, your body, you're a strong dude. And, it's crazy. I still don't, but again, I thank God he's been able to keep me healthy throughout this time. So.
Yeah. So one of the last things I wanted to touch on was like in general, recovery is important, but because of how weird this year's been with scheduling and everything, how important is it to have that rest, to have those breaks? And in general, do you enjoy the little in-between stuff?
Yeah. I think like being my last year, experience is the best teacher. I got a little hurt at UTEP. I've never had any real serious injury, but I kind of messed up like my right ankle, right Achilles area. And I was out for like 3 weeks. And I was confused, like, dude, like I landed on a dunk, I got a steal, I landed on a dunk, and it's my leg I didn't land the right way. And I'm like, dude, why did that happen? And, Coppin State isn't the biggest school, doesn't have the most money or whatever, but I mean, my trainer, shout out to Miss Steph, she does a really good job of just like being on top of us to take care of our bodies. You're not getting any younger. So like, I mean, foam rolling to hydration. I used to cramp a lot when I was younger because I wouldn't drink water prior to games maybe or drink after. And I'm like, dude, why am I cramping? And throughout this year, I mean, I've played in every game, playing about 35, 36 minutes a game on back-to-backs. Still being able to affect the game, on both sides of the ball. It's not easy, but definitely my shout out to my strength coach, Coach Chris. I mean, he's incredible. Whether it's giving me directions on sleeping patterns or things to do prior to sleeping, or it's different supplements to keep my body, engaged and intact. Like these guys, yeah, they're great. They're great. you're definitely great. So
It definitely seems like you have a great balance between getting in the weight room, getting on the court, working on your game, and knowing when to, take care of your body. Anthony, talking to you, getting to watch you play a little bit, digging into what drives you and what gives you that grit that you play with. It's easy to see you are going places. You've got a bright future ahead of you. For any young ballers who want to learn how to be effective on both sides of the ball, impactful on both sides of the ball, look this man up. All right. Anthony Tarke, Coppin State, big stuff coming ahead, man. We are going to be watching you and your brother closely and cheering for you guys. Best of luck with the rest of your season and beyond. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you guys for listening to SwishWire.